Let's begin by having you tell us your name and tell us maybe what branch of the military did you serve?
Okay, my name is Ray Gibson. I served in the United States Air Force for just sort of 3 years. And my duty station was only one place in the Bay Area. Got the Golden Gate Bridge in the
Yeah, you
background.
do. It's
Uh,
perfect.
so I served in the Bay Area as a data processing specialist. We tracked satellites that were feeding information about Russia, probably.
Ah. And did you enlist or were you commissioned? And when? What year?
No, I enlisted in 1978
Okay. Okay.
and served for I always forget my dates because it was so long ago. 1978, so it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And right after Vietnam shut down, so it was during peacetime.
And
Well,
why did
hmm,
sorry. I'm so sorry.
that's okay. Keep going. I
I hate
forgot.
to interrupt. It's just hard sometimes with this setting. My question was, why did you choose to enlist and why did you choose the Air Force?
Well, I my life was kind of at a standstill, um, and I just wasn't doing well at all. A woman named Lalomi Washburn, who was a songwriter and backup singer for Shaka Khan, talked me into joining the military. Said that I was too smart. I was probably 17 years old when I met her, but said that I was too smart and had so much going on to be in such a bad place. And I agreed with her and said, I don't know, and did it anyway. My dad wanted to set me up with commission to the Navy right after high school, and I went, I don't think so. I actually wish I had, but I didn't. And I waited a couple of years, and then all hell broke loose in my life, and I wanted to change it. So that's why and the Air Force, I know the Air Force probably because I had my eye on wanting to be into computers before I joined the military.
Mm,
And I figured if I test high enough on the written, I wanted to be a programmer. I wanted to start out being a programmer. I was 2 points shy of that mark. I
mm.
said, you can't just waive 2 points. Sorry, sorry, we can't waive anything.
In the military, especially, right? I mean,
Well, I didn't know.
yeah, sure.
I wasn't in the military yet.
Right. Okay,
All
sure.
I knew was Private Benjamin and movies and and I knew people that were in the military, but when you're not in the military, you have no idea what that life is like until you're in the military. It's like trying to explain to somebody what being black is like. Unless you're black, you, you don't know what that experience is like. You hear it from the outside. So it's like California. I joined the service and went to California.
Mm.
I went delayed entry. Gave me 6 months to change my mind. And all of the stories I heard about California were nothing like being there. You know what I mean? So the military is the same way.
Lovely. I love those comparisons. That's great. And all of my students are from California, so they're gonna love to hear. Yeah, I teach at a California school, California Irvine, so they're gonna be
Oh,
happy to
that's
hear.
right.
Okay, so the next question, because you mentioned how long you served, and you mentioned that you had one duty station, so I'm assuming you did not deploy if you had one duty station. Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Okay.
because it was peacetime too. It was
It was
peacetime.
peacetime too. Perfect. Okay. So then what motivated you to leave the Air Force?
Being a woman, a black woman at that in the Air Force, uh, it was too much. I was too much of a leader to be that kind of follower. I was always jumping the chain of command and doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing because I was just an airman. And so, and I landed in the Bay Area with computer experience and saw all the money to be made. We were starving in the Bay Area. They didn't give us extra pay, which they should have, to live there because it was so expensive. And I just said, I can't, I'm not starving for the next, God knows how
Over
many
years.
years.
Yeah.
I got out. My mother got me out. Interesting story. Um, and I got out and started my career immediately.
And what year did you separate?
1981.
Okay. And talk to us about your separation from the military and your transition process back to being a civilian, becoming a veteran. And
It
if you'd
was,
like to, you can lump that in with the next set of questions, which is about your transition. I don't know how, but
it was a long period of time in between.
okay, perfect. So then just tell us about leaving the Air Force, and then I guess you're saying starting your career.
Yeah. Um, Leaving the Air Force was, I was happy to leave the Air Force because I got hit on all the time by men, by other soldiers. And it was just, I guess I was a dish back in the day. And I was the wrong gender. Now I knew something was up, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to call it. I had a lot of thoughts, I had a lot of feelings, but I never shared them with anybody. And so coming out, it was hard to get a job at first. And because I had military experience, I had experience with computers, but they were old computers. And so I was having a hard time finding a job.
Mm.
And I was whining to my girlfriend every time I did an interview or whatever. Well, if they won't give me experience, how am I going to get experience with newer technology? Whatever. And then I finally landed a job. I impressed this guy so much by writing him a letter thanking him for the interview and outlining what happened in that interview that he hired me because of the letter. So my mom taught me well, um, much like my mother in that regard, very uh, savvy with consumerism and stuff like that. And so the transition was pretty simple once I got that job. I just soared.
And what were you doing? What was your job?
I was a computer operator for, I forgot the name of that company. Shoot, I forgot the name of that company, but I was a computer operator for them in the IBM world. And then I got another job after that one with another company, paper company, also as a computer operator. Then I got my job at Tandem in 1983, or thereabouts, 1982, 1983. I got a job with Tandem and I worked with them for 12 years. And I just took off. I mean, I went from computer operator to software developer inside of 6 years, 7 years without a degree.
Awesome. And did did being a veteran help you get any of these jobs? Did you tell anyone you were a veteran?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I told them if I had had enough other than honorable discharge, it would have affected me. Having an honorable discharge, they expected that to be the norm, and nothing else was mentioned about it. So it was almost like a complete unplug from military life and plug into civilian life, and it was I don't know, I kind of liked it because I didn't really want to talk about my military experience either, and I wasn't sure what I could talk about either because I did have a security clearance.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't sure what I could talk about as far as what happened in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And all the meantime, too, this little voice in the back of my head saying, "You're not a lesbian. You're something else. But what is it? All that has been going on all of my life. And
Mhm.
it wasn't until I was 52
52, 5-2, 52. Okay.
that I got a word for it when I saw Chaz Bono on Dancing with the Stars.
Really? Amazing.
So I didn't know at all transgender people existed.
Yeah.
I knew there were transvestites and drag queens and cross dressers.
Yeah.
I knew there were those, but I did not know they were women. And by the same token, I didn't know I was a man. I just knew I had thoughts all the time of being a man. My fantasies were I was always a male. I mean, I had things that were going on, but because I never talked to anybody about it, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had no idea. When I saw Chaz Bono, I went, what? And I stayed glued to the TV every week. I wanted to see that one and see how far he went and whether he dropped his dancer. I
Nice.
reached out to him.
Did you? Did you get a response?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, amazing.
I had to tell him that, I'm the son of a celebrity. So I wasn't calling as a fan. I wasn't approaching him as a fan. So that got me in the door to talking with him.
Nice. 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 Okay, so you're talking to us now. Great, because this is wanting to shift into your gender transition, and you mentioned how old you were. You were not still in the military, um, and so would you say, seeing someone on Dancing with the Stars, so would you say that society was more receptive um, of transgender people? No. Okay, great.
Well, yeah, yes, because they had him on that show.
Sure, that was a
I
huge step.
mean, that was remarkable that they would even allow that.
Sure.
But see, Hollywood, Hollywood is more forgiving of LGBT people, period. They hire a lot of them, they employ a lot of them, and there's a lot of actors and actresses and stuff like that. So it didn't surprise me because he's insulated by Hollywood and the fact that Cher was his mother. And so that got him in the door.
Yeah.
He was somewhat of a celebrity. He was an entertainer, but he wasn't that good. He was in a band or something like that. I read his books,
Okay.
and he didn't really enjoy that experience, and it showed.
Interesting.
But society, no, I knew something was up when I saw him, but I immediately went to shutdown mode
Okay.
for another 4 years.
And so then what turned you what flipped the switch so that you could get out of shutdown mode?
I kept researching. I was in shutdown mode. I was depressed. I was on so many medications that the medications were causing a problem, and I didn't know it until I stopped taking them. And then I kept researching all the time. And I told my therapist, I saw him when I was living in Texas, and I got my SSDI picked up and moved to Georgia, and told my therapist, got a therapist at the VA for the first time in, I don't think I'd had a therapist with the VA until I went to Atlanta. So I told her, I think I might be like him. She said, oh, goody. I've got other transgender clients. And I was like, lady, this is not good news. And then I continued to shut down and refused to talk about it because I didn't know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
It was just confusing. And all of these memories flooding back in my head and just all this stuff. And it took me 3 years to open up to her about that. Now, I went into therapy and talked about being depressed, but I couldn't talk about being trans because I wasn't. Every time she wanted to talk about it, I said, I'll be a lesbian the rest of my life. I don't care. Because what I was thinking was coming out in a society that hated transgender people. So that's why I shook my head when you said that, because to me, I heard things and the country was hating transgender people. So I want to come out again as something else other than lesbian. It was hard enough coming out as lesbian in the 70s. Um, and so now, how many years later? 40 years later, a long time later, I'm gonna come out again? No, no. I think I'll stay in the closet. Well, that didn't last. That did not last. So something, I don't, it wasn't any one particular thing. It was just me saying, I'm fighting it. Stop fighting it. You've never been good at, definitely not good at being something you're not, or not stepping into something that you are. Um, and the closet is not a good place for me, not with my mouth, my personality, my extrovertedness. It just, once I knew, and I embraced it. And then I got excited. Up until that point, I was scared to death. I was terrified. Oh, God, what's my family going to think? What are my friends going to think? What is everybody going to think? What are they going to do to me? And I'm an elder, and I can't defend myself the way that I could when I was in my 20s and 30s and 40s. What if somebody wants to kick my ass? I mean, I had all of these fears that just were stopping me from wanting to move forward. But the pressure, the internal pressure of me not being who I was and not being authentic was worse than anything that I could face out there. And that's what just said, you got to stop fighting. You're not good at this. You're good at fighting the world, not yourself. So it all happened. And the minute I stopped fighting, I got real excited. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah. And what year was that? And then tell us what happened.
2015.
Okay. 2015. Okay. And then you were with the VA, so the VA was able to.
And my doctor, my PCP, she knew. I think I told her when I told my therapist, but then I didn't want to talk about it with either one of them. Yeah. But when I stepped to her and said, I think I'm a trans man and I need to be on testosterone, she said, oh, okay. And she just made the appointment. Bang, bang, bang. It was there. Within inside of a month, I was going to see him. Now, I had actually done that a year before. I made an appointment. I told her, I think something's going on. I opened up to my therapist and I think I need to transition. She said, okay. And she made an appointment with my endo doctor and I chickened out. I didn't go. I don't remember what I was afraid of, but I was just afraid. I was afraid at my age, being on testosterone was going to do something to my liver or something to my internal something or another. And I just was afraid. Sure. So sometime in the beginning of 2015, when I decided to stop taking all of the antidepressants and only take two of them, and stop fighting and just go with the flow, go with this. Then I called her up or I went in to see her and she said, okay, no fuss, no muss, boom, bang. I started testosterone on October 30th, 2015. That's my anniversary. And I was so excited. I was so excited. And you know what was weird? They started me on patches. I didn't take the shot. I took patches. And the very next day, my voice dropped.
Wow. So fast. Wow.
That fast. The very next day, well, it didn't drop as low as it is now, but it dropped. And I was like, feeling this bass in my throat.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Then I was like, okay, when's the hair going to come? When's the hair going to come? When am I going to get a beard? Now that took 9 months before I got a couple scraggles down here. So it just totally, my world went upside down, and all sorts of things started happening. That's when I realized I wasn't a lesbian, never was a lesbian, which is weird because I hated that word when I first heard it. I said, lesbian sounds like Lebanese or something. I don't know. I hated that word. But I went to California, and that's what indoctrinated me into that world. Partially in Omaha, where I'm from, but California is what did it, the Bay Area.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, you've been very generous and beyond. But is there anything else you'd like to tell us about being a Air Force veteran, serving in the Air Force, being a transgender veteran, being
But
transgender?
if it hadn't been for my experience in the military, I would have never gotten into computers the way that I did. And the discipline it gave me, and the just show up, do your best. Now, I was always an overachiever anyway, but the military just gave me some kind of extra oomph that I didn't have before I went in the military. And being a veteran has been a pleasure because, you get discounts when you tell people, you walk around with veteran hats and stuff, people make comments to you. I have one guy, I was sitting in Denny's, and this guy came up and paid for my dinner. He shook my hand and said, "Your dinner's on me." It's some
Amazing.
strange man.
Yeah.
And but as a man, the whole thing just changed. I mean, just everything just really changed. Like going to an auto repair store of any kind, they were opening up and telling me things they never said when they thought I was a female. Um, just the camaraderie, the brotherhood part that I had wanted all of my life, but I wasn't part of the club because they thought I was a lesbian stud, still a woman. And so all these doors opened up. Now, unfortunately, I was retired and it didn't open up any employment doors,
Right.
but the world opened up because men, it's a man's world still, unfortunately, and or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. Um,
And that
Not
currency of being a veteran as well, man and veteran.
man and veteran.
Yeah.
It elevated how people think of me and look at me and treat me and respect me. Now, the black part takes it down some notches,
Yeah.
but um, still a heck of a lot different than being a black woman in society. Just wow. The contrast is like night and day. Um, Now, being a veteran today is more respectful than it was all the times in between where people didn't care about us and they didn't talk about us and they didn't thank us for our service and all of the stuff that they're doing now. um, I'm glad that happened. I don't know why it happened. I think one of these wars that we had kicked everybody into an understanding that it takes a different kind of person to be a military, be in the military. Just like it does being a police officer. It just takes something different, especially the military, because as a police officer, I think they are drawn to that because of the power it gives you. You don't get that kind of power when you're enlisted and you're in the military. If
You're
you're
just an
an officer,
airman working on computers.
just an airman working on computers. Somebody told me I was in the chair force.
Oh.
He was a Marine. I said,
I,
"Yeah, that's okay, Grunt." I said, I bet I ended up making six-figure income from my experience of being in the military
there
and
you go.
knowing
Worth it.
computers. So I'll take the chair any time of the day. You can have the rifle and be on the front lines, and I'll sit in the background and push the button. No. And then we got to eat steak while y'all was eating that crap in the boxes.
That's right.
I got him back, but it's my life has just been such a smorgasbord of very, very pleasant things and very, very not pleasant things that I'm writing a book and, I'm going to share a lot of this stuff
Good.
in the book. I've been trying to get it published and people are not interested in a 60 something year old black trans man's story, even though I'm the son of a celebrity. They
Crazy.
don't,
Yeah.
they're still afraid to put us in mainstream. You know, we're in a lot of these background talks and stuff like that. And I do a lot of talks with a lot of different people.
Sure.
I've been interviewed since I came out. I also did a workshop at the THEA conference in 2016, the end of 2016. And when it was right before Cittadini got elected, that was a no whole nother shift that happened to me. That when I realized, oh my God, I'm a black man in a society that hates black men. So, but I'm a friendly guy, so it usually doesn't have too many problems. I'm not very big, so I don't scare nobody. um,
Love it.
but it's still something that living authentically for the first time in my life just lifted me out of a 14-year depression.
Mm.
Just lifted me. I still fight with it. I still battle with depression, but it's nothing like it was when I was isolated and hospitals and all the mental health stuff that I went through. Um, so, you know, I can talk for 10 hours and
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to say thank you so much for talking with us. I'm going to stop recording.